Hello and welcome to Academically's yet another podcast. My name is Jaspreet and today's guest is Dr. Sonal, who is the program manager for ADC course, which means that the first gift for the New Year's goes to dentists. And we are going to talk about the ADC course, starting with the very first question and a very common query, क्यों लेना चाहिए ADC exam?
First of all, a very happy new year to all of you and hi Jaspreet, I hope you are doing well. क्यों लेना चाहिए ADC exam? Basically, ADC exam is Australian Dental Council exam, and if you want to practice in Australia, then you will have to sit for the ADC exam. You have to qualify the ADC exam, and only then you can practice as a dentist over there. So those of you who want to migrate to Australia will have to and should sit for the ADC written and practical exam to practice as a registered dentist over there.
And coming to another very common query, what is the eligibility? क्या सब करना पड़ता है? कौन लोग ये एग्जाम दे सकते हैं?
Eligibility is very simple, Jaspreet. 4 years of BDS studies with your internship, and you need to be a registered dentist in your country. So whether you are registered with your state council, corresponding state council, or your DCI, which is the same. So yeah, you can. You do not require any sort of experience or something like that in ADC, which is very, very good.
And what is the procedure like सबसे पहले से सबसे आखिरी step तक का, because it is not available on the internet, let me tell you.
Okay, very simple. ADC has 3 steps. Number 1 is your initial assessment, wherein your document verification and your capability, your ability to whether you are a good dentist or not, whether you are a registered dentist or not is checked. If that is done, then you are eligible to sit for the written exam. So written assessment is for 2 days. Total of 280 questions, case-based scenarios, MCQs are there, no negative marking, and there are 4 clusters. You need to pass in all 4 clusters, and then you finish up with the written exam. Once guys are done with the written exam, you will have to sit for the practical exam. Now the written exam can be taken up in your home country. You do not have to go anywhere else. It's a web proctored examination. But if you talk about the practical exam, for that you need to move to Australia, where in Melbourne you have your practical examination setup center. You need to go there, clear your practical exam. So as I conclude, basically 3 steps: initial assessment, written assessment and practical assessment to qualify the ADC exam.
Awesome. So there was a very specific reason why I said that, although all this information is available on the internet, it is not as well organized.
Yes.
And this is why it is very important for us to have somebody to guide you. And we are going to come to the Academically's preparation course for that. But before that, how much money does one need to complete the process? Additional expenses hai koi?
Additional expenses, so if I talk about the government fees, so for the initial skill assessment you need to pay 647 AUD. Okay, that is the government fees for ADC. Moving on to the written assessment, you need to pay 2122 Australian dollars for the written assessment, and for the practical assessment you need to pay $4,775. So this is the entire fee breakup. It's roundabout, if you say it's 7,000 AUD is what is the cost for the ADC exam.
Okay, and another question, actually, it was a query which was given by, I guess, 5 or 6 people, and this the same question is ADC exam a better option than doing dental PG or higher studies in Australia? If yes, why?
ADC is always a better option, I would say, being a dentist myself, because if you go and study there, it's a bit expensive, right? ADC initial assessment, you can sit in your own country and you can do it. You don't need to migrate. So visa costs and other migration costs are all covered up. Moving on to the written assessment, again, in the written assessment also, you don't have to go there. It's only the practical assessment for which you have to fly to Australia, right? But if you talk about your MPH, like Master of Public Health is very common, or MBA in any other field, you need to fill the form, you need to go there, sit for the interview, sit for the entrance exam. It's not done from your own country. So a lot of costs and expenses are involved in that. So I would say ADC is much better option. Also, once you qualify the ADC, you can practice as a registered dentist. Now, the difference, practicing as a registered dentist in Australia is definitely wholesome. It's a good opportunity because there's a great work-life balance. You get free education for your family. When you practice for some more time, you get a PR. So that's very much fruitful for a dentist to go to Australia and practice, sit at home, clear the ADC, and go to Australia and practice. Very simple.
Actually, a lot of people also do not find it very simple, because majority of the people working in India have their heart tongue in English. So what is the requirement in the English requirements? Any proficiency required specifically?
Okay, so for the ADC exam, no English proficiency is required as such. For the visa, is where the English proficiency comes up. So you have three options. You can go for IELTS. You need a band score of 7 for that. You can go for PTE. For that you need a score of 65. And for OED you need to score out of 500. It's 345 around to qualify for the visa process of Australia.
Awesome. Actually, we are heading towards the end of the podcast, but a few more questions for you. When we talk about landing a job in Australia, can you give some real life tips and tricks for getting a good job out there?
Getting a good job out there, so you have a lot of options in visas also. I would club this question along with the visa question.
Okay.
So well, dentists come under the skill demand profession in Australia. So you get a different visa option, visa of 482, right? Then you get a sponsored visa, which is 491 visa. You get a training visa if you go as a training, it's 407 visa. So it's skills in demand visa, skilled workers visa, you know. So you have a lot of options also over there, right? So I think that is something which serves as a very good opportunity over there.
Actually, and that's a very wholesome answer, actually. So, coming to the one point that was left behind, how can academically help dentists?
So academically has a very well curated course for all the dentists out here, and it is the ADC program course of ours. Okay, we have more than 100 plus live classes, live sessions. We have a live session. You have your ADC faculty experts teaching you. Okay, we have a well curated content for you guys on the Australian basis on the Australian guidelines and standards. Then we have a full developed mock for you with every subject wise mock, subject wise past questions, recalls. The entire setup is done for your written assessment. Talking about initial assessment also, we have a different or separate team who takes charge of the initial assessment of the ADC course. So you don't have to worry and also the English proficiency, I would say. So everything is there. We have a wholesome package. Just come join academically and you can get your full preparation done without any inconvenience.
Amazing. I don't think there's a better New Year's gift that you can give yourself than to registering with Academically's ADC exam preparation course. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll be back with another podcast with much more information, and many more of your queries will be answered there. Thank you and take care.